Today we're going to go through a simulated power outage, and I personally believe that preparing for this power outage is actually more important than having everything you need and not knowing what it will do. We're going to use a Lumopal 1000 watt unit. That's going to be able to power some things, not everything. We're going to push it to its limits. This is a small portable power station that's going to allow us to move around the house and do multiple things. And the reason I want to use this is because I know this is the smallest one that I have, and it will allow me to get to different places easily rather than carrying something that's much heavier, and it will also allow me to power small items very easily wherever I'm at. As a backup, I also have a gas generator. That gas generator is very loud. It is not something that is run overnight while we're sleeping. That just doesn't seem to work out well. So we need something to power different things when we want silence. This is going to be it for today's testing. I'm going to walk you through what it will do. We're going to see some fails. We're going to see some good things, but you'll be able to see it as it happens. Let's get after it. First things first, when it comes to a power outage, we need coffee. So turn on the AC. Here, it's going to give us the battery that's left, 100%, time remaining to empty, and the power watt out. Now, we have approximately 1,000 watt hours here, but it's going to be 80% of that because there is going to be, as you see, some power loss in the conversion. So let's just hope that when we turn this on, we don't overload it because we need some coffee. Significant coffee. So we're preheating. Power output here is a little slow. Boom, right to 1 kilowatt, 1.1. So we're pushing the surge. Let's just cross our fingers we make it through this. You can see here 49 minutes till empty on that, and boom, we're off. That sucks because coffee would make this video much, much better. Something just as important as coffee is going to be your sump pump. At least for me it is. If we're getting a rainstorm, I definitely want to have this guy working 100%. So we're going to test that out by putting some water into the sump pump artificially just to get it running. There we go, it's kicked on. 753 watts was what it came out to be maximum. We'll run this again until it kicks in. Now here I do have a battery operated backup, which is great, but if that battery were to die, it's always something you want to know, will something run your sump pump long term? Because overnight we could either charge the battery that's running the battery operated sump pump, or we could just plug this guy in and let it go. Here we go again. At time 705 watts. Wattage is a little bit slow to come up, but this will definitely work without issue. The issue that we have running this long term is that we are going to have that 80% efficiency or 20% loss in efficiency that's going to drag this battery down. So this is telling us 76 hours basically just being plugged in that this will run. So we'd have to balance that with how long we think this power outage might be. So to me, a good shower is just about as important as coffee in the morning. So let's plug this guy in and see if we can run our natural gas water heater. Might take a second for it to kick on, but this is going to be quite interesting to see how many watts this guy takes up. It should only be the fan that's running. About 115 watts is where we're at now, which isn't much. That's great. We could run this quite some time and not have much of an issue, but let's run it through a full cycle and see where it goes. We've had this water heater running for approximately 20 minutes, and this power output area at about 115 watts is a sweet spot for a power unit like this because it'll run for a very, very long time. Not a high draw. You can see we went from about 8.6 hours down to 8.4 hours, still at 96% charge. That's great. This would run this no problem. That's where I see this hybrid stuff coming in a lot. You have something that's gas powered but needs a little bit of electricity. We don't need a lot of power to run it, and we still get a lot of great performance. So this working on a gas-powered water heater is perfect. In a power outage scenario, your freezer might be very important. So we'll turn this guy on. This freezer is actually not frozen at all. So it's going to take a lot of power right off the bat, 467 watts, for it to start cooling. And it's going to drop, but it's going to go up and down, up and down. And basically this is worst case scenario. You have a freezer that is not frozen. So we're going to let this go for a little bit and just see how it takes it. Again, this freezer is another sweet spot item where we're just running about at 1/10 of capacity. You can see we're going down a little bit in battery, but not much. We have a lot of runtime that we could just power this freezer if we needed to. And again, once this was actually froze, the freezer would turn off. So if you had food in here and it was already froze, it would not be constantly running for 8.6 hours. And you'd probably be able to make this a 24-hour deal with just this small battery inverter. In a power outage situation, I think we always want to take a look at what we're going to have charged up for later. So in this case, we have a Craftsman battery that we're going to throw on here. That is basically dead. AC will kick on in a second. We need communications. So we end up with one USB-C output that is 100 watts. And then we have a bunch of, well, three 2.1 amp USB-A's that are on here. We'll just push the USB-A button to turn that on. Also have some flashlights. Of course, you're always going to need flashlights. Well, anybody needs flashlights if you have power outages or not. So we're going to charge up some of these batteries. That just seems to make the most sense. These are just simple 21700 cells that we can plug into, charge up directly. That's going to start eating at our power a little bit. At some point, maybe not. We don't have a large charger on here. Actually, we're going to remove this guy from here, move it up. We're limited with the two plugs, so we might as well find something else around here that needs to be charged. We've got this Ryobi battery too that is in need of charging. Another 18 volt. So we're just going to throw this on. This is a fast charger. If this battery is going to take a charge, it should increase the output watts significantly. Not much, but let's let it roll there at about 124 watts out for a little bit and get all of this stuff charged. So the Craftsman battery is now fully charged. The Ryobi is still charging. We actually don't have a use for this Ryobi and we're getting hungry, so let's try cooking with this guy. We're going to keep our USBs attached to this. You can see we have 12 watts going out right now, very little, but we have an air fryer here. This is going to get hot very quickly and I'm questioning if I'm going to be able to run it. But again, this is part of the preparation. I want to know what I am able to cook. So let's give this guy a go and see how close to the maximum we actually are. I know it's more than 400 watts, so we are 958. We are right on the border of where this is going to go for its maximum. Looks like it's going to stick in that area for a while. Let's let this run and see what happens. Since this is a go, let's add some unhealthy food in here and see if we can get this cooked. I just want to catch this. We are still cooking, but this goes into like a fan cycle and it'll probably cycle up again here. Even when cooking with something with heat, we will cycle up and down in watts. This is going to happen with a slow cooker, anything like that. So the time that's left here is probably pessimistic right now because we're not going to hold this forever. And obviously with an air fryer, you're not going to cook for 42 minutes, which is great. I am absolutely amazed that we are still at 68% on this unit and we have a ton of things we could still continue with throughout our day without power. All right, so we are done cooking with the air fryer. This makes 100% sense. It's fast, it works well. It takes up a little bit of battery, but it's a quick meal when the power is out. Now here I have some chicken breast in here. I'm gonna make kind of, I don't know if it's a casserole. We're just gonna add some cream of mushroom, cream of chicken soup to that guy. And this is going to be more of a long-term thing. Right now, we're just going to start out with the chicken. I got it set. Let's go up to 350. That interests me too, because that's not a ton of watts. So we're gonna let this guy cook for some time and just see what happens. So our chicken has been cooking for a couple hours. I'm not gonna do a lot of tipping there, but we are on our way. Definitely not done, but we're starting to get low on battery. We're down to 7%. The fan is on the inside, trying to keep this cool. Not only do we have heat from this coming over, but there's a good amount of heat that's on this inverter. It's not hot to the touch at all, just warm. Interestingly enough, we still have all our USBs going. Everything is pretty much charged by now. If we wanted to, we should be able to plug the AC adapter in for this guy, and then we can plug in this unit and charge it up. We have a PV that goes in, and we also have an AC. Now, interesting enough, it stopped everything, then turned it all back on. But we can input at around 130 watts, which isn't horrible, but it takes a significant time to charge this. If you can imagine, we had 130 watts going out. That's telling us input power right now was going to 130, outputs at 515. There we're going up to 150 on input watts and climbing. That's good. It's going to take some time to charge this, which is the downside of having a unit like this without like a supercharger that takes 1800 watts. Great if you have a generator plugged in and you don't have the wattage on it. Bad because it takes a long time. But overall, not a bad unit. We could solar charge at the same time if we wanted to. Very neat and interesting. If we had a small refrigerator or anything, we have a car socket here, 2 other 12-volt outputs. Pretty simple to use this, and we were able to get through a large part of our day with this. And if we didn't want to go into some crazy cooking in our Nesco, we would have had no issue running many things: shower, sump pump, freezers, all that kinds of stuff with this unit. I think that's great. And prepare for an outage. If you're going to go through something like this, know what these will use, know what they will run, know what you can do. And again, preparation is key. Comments below. Give us a like in this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.